we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. There is no fear. There is no fear. There is no fear. There is.
Friends, gamblers, and sports enthusiasts, it is time. It is finally time for a spanking new episode of Nall or Nothing. I'm your host, Jason Nall. I'm going to join you again this week to rock and roll through the weekend ahead of sports through the lens of legalized sports gambling here in the state of Tennessee. We got to do better this week. Big Daddy C, he did okay last week. We'll get to that. But your host, boy, I told you I struggled in the playoffs, and last week was no exception. Man, did I struggle. Gave you 3 plays, all 3 losers. I like San Francisco under in the first half. They went wild, scoring like crazy early and often. That wasn't close. And I had a teaser that ended with the GOAT, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. I thought they would keep it close on Monday night. Oh, man, they did not keep it close. Dallas was ready to go. They were sharp, and that was another loser. So I have dug in and done some work here in this divisional round. I feel much better this week about my plays. Let's see if they turn out any better at all. All right, let's bring our panel in, starting with Badlands Brandon, and then Big Daddy C 1000. Badlands, you were out last week. How's that house coming along? You got those cabinets in yet?
Yeah, as a breath of fresh air, man. They came the other day and got them in for us, and that long black bleak tunnel, we're starting to see just a shimmer of light at the end of it. So got a couple little more small things we're trying to tie up, but we're getting there. So hopefully I'll be back in my home studio here in a few weeks.
Well, I hope so too. Big Daddy C and I were getting worried that you're going to drag this house thing out and mess up our trip to Hot Springs. We're good to go next week. We're trying to get back to a Nall or Nothing field trip over to the Hot Springs Racing and Casino at Oaklawn.
Yeah, so I took care of everything last week. I think you took care of some of our dinner reservations that we're going to have while we're out there, but the cabin's booked. Hopefully, the horses will treat us good and everybody can get paid a little bit while we're down there.
That'd be good. That'd be real good. Big Daddy C, how's that boot full of money holding up for you? You still got plenty of funds to fire down next week on the games at Oaklawn Sportsbook and on the horse racing.
Yeah, that boot is just so overflowing. I've gone into a shoebox now and a 5-gallon bucket. I mean, those games last week, I liked all the favorites, and sadly, only 2 of them got there, but they were my 1 and 2 picks. They were the 2 that I really went to, that I put the big bets on. I had the other favorites in a few parlays. They didn't hurt me too bad, but the 2 I really liked, I put out as my 1 and 2 plays. I loaded the boat, and it came in for me, both of them.
They definitely did. Well, let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly, which certainly covers your number 1 play. The good, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Dak had his, by far, best game of the season. Looked explosive, leading the offense for Dallas. No turnovers. They put up 5 touchdowns. Just looked really good. The first time in 30 years, Big Daddy C, that the Cowboys have won a road playoff game. You love the Cowboys, and you stuck with it. You doubled down and rode over across that bridge to Southland Greyhound Park to the casino and loaded the boot up on Dallas. Good performance, right? You're proud of those Cowboys?
Yeah, well, I went over there and I kind of nickel and dimed around on a slot machine and hit it for 800. So that was just 8 more hundred I put on those Cowboys. They were an absolute deadbolt lock cinch. I mean, for a week they heard about how awful they were, how bad they were. They stunk. They couldn't do anything. And then they were playing the worst team in the playoffs by far. I mean, Tampa Bay had a losing record, really probably shouldn't even been there. That was an easy gimme win. If you didn't have the Cowboys there, you're just plain stupid. I got a part B to this. I'm not going to spoil it about the Cowboys next week, but that was an absolute great setup for the Cowboys. Talked about how bad they were. You knew they weren't going to do that twice in a row. Easy win. I hope a lot of y'all listening got on it with me.
Badlands, I think he just called me stupid.
Well, I don't. Well, yeah, I guess he called all of us stupid technically, but I was never big on the Cowboys from a playoff standpoint. I know that in the past, if you look back over their record in the playoffs, they tend to choke up and just get obliterated in the playoffs. It doesn't matter how good they're doing in the regular season, but yeah, let's give credit to Dak Prescott. He looked good. I think that's the best game he's had in the past couple of weeks. So. I'm not going to give away too much information because when we get to the NFL picks, I'll get into that a little bit more. But definitely good for Dak and definitely good for Dallas getting through a very lackluster Tampa Bay team.
Definitely got the monkey off Dallas's back with a road playoff win for the first time in 30 years. The good, the Cowboys, and the performance by Dak Prescott. The bad, let's just stay right here with the Cowboys. If we're going to talk about a kicker, it's usually not good. The Dallas Cowboys kicker, Brett Maher, misses 5 consecutive extra points. Going back to the season finale at Washington, he missed an extra point and then misses four extra points in the playoff game against Tampa Bay on Monday night. Comes down late in the game, mid fourth quarter. Dallas can kick a field goal from about the 20-yard line to make it a 5-score game and really just salt it away. But now it was a 4th and 4. They decided to keep the offense on the field. No confidence in the kicker. Well, it worked out because CeeDee Lamb got wide open and caught a touchdown pass on that 4th and 4. And you know what? Then they trotted old Meyer out there, and he made the extra point finally after that last touchdown. But missed 4 in a row, Big Daddy C. You were texting me during the game. You kind of thought that might be an omen. You were worried. You almost backed your bet up and hedged just because of that extra point situation.
Yeah, that's never a good sign. I mean, when you miss 2 in a row, I was texting you, why are they letting the guy even come back out there? Either get somebody else or don't let him out there. Go for 2. I mean, when he missed that 3rd and 4th, I was going crazy because that's 4 points. That's, instead of 4 touchdowns, it was 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points to tie it up. And you did have the GOAT out there. So it did make me a little nervous. It did kind of seem like a bad omen, but it really just didn't matter. Dallas was dominant, even with that awful, pathetic performance from that kicker.
Yeah, Dallas was dominant. So how about this for Brett Maher's confidence, Badlands Brandon? This week, the Dallas Cowboys sign a backup kicker, Tristan Vizcaino, who's traveled around and been with a couple of teams this league. They just put him on the practice squad, though, and they said, well, if Myers struggles in practice on Thursday and Friday, we'll have a backup plan. What's that do for a kicker's confidence who missed 5 straight extra points?
Oh, I mean, there's no doubt that, this is definitely going to haunt you. And especially for him, you have to think that eventually after that first or second one, it becomes just a mental situation where you get up there to kick and you just tell yourself, I'm not going to make it just because you've missed 2 already. Starting to kind of sound like Ray Finkel out here. Maybe the laces were turned out or something. Don't really know what's going on with him, but for his confidence, it's got to put it down in the dumps a little bit, especially when you go out and you're just looking for guys that can even remotely kick. So definitely, I think he definitely needs to get in a get right spot this week because if he starts missing them, Vizcaino may get a look. A side note about him too: was he not an SEC kicker?
Brett Maher, let's see. I don't even know.
No. Vizcaino.
Oh, Vizcaino. I'm not
I
sure.
think he was at Florida, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
5 missed extra points. That's never happened in the NFL. 5 consecutive missed extra points. Probably won't happen again in our lifetime. The bad, Dallas Cowboy place kicker. And the ugly, doesn't get much uglier than this. Your host, Jason Nall, I had the Chargers to win the AFC in a preseason bet. That's who I picked to win the AFC before the season started. Thought that they could hang with Kansas City, especially second year under Coach Brett Staley? How about no? How about the Chargers do fight and have a good second half of the season to get into the playoffs, and then they come out on the road at Jacksonville Saturday night, stun the Jags, stun them 27 rock at halftime, 27-0. Not good enough. They blow the 27-0 lead. Trevor Lawrence, who threw 4 interceptions in the first half for the Jaguars, throws 4 touchdowns in the second half. The comeback is complete with a game-winning field goal for the Jaguars. How, Brandon, how do you blow a 27-point lead? Your namesake, Brandon Staley, I think he should have lost his job for it. They underperformed, really, in my opinion, to have to go on the road in the playoffs in the first place, and then they blow a 27-point lead.
Yeah, it's actually funny you bring this up. Big Daddy C and I were talking the other day on the phone, and we were actually talking about this game. And, we both came to the conclusion that it just looked like that, they just laid down. In the second half, they thought they had a decent sized lead. The offense was playing good, defense looked decent, so we can kind of just put it on cruise control and just coast to the fourth quarter and get it done. But Jacksonville said there was no way they were just going to do that. And Jacksonville comes out, Trevor Lawrence gets on fire, starts finding every receiver on the field. Everything looked really good. And then all of a sudden, they start battling back. I blame the entire team for the loss. When everybody just stops and lays down and says, hey, guys, we've got this one at 27-0. We can put it on cruise control. You can't put anything on cruise control. As our coach at MSU, or former coach, you play from whistle to whistle. You play from the first one to the last one. And I don't think they did that at all. I think after that first half, they decided to put it on cruise control, and it cost them.
Big Daddy C, what kind of action did you have in that game, and how did that affect you? I know you liked all the favorites, and the Chargers were a slight favorite.
Yes, I did. I didn't play that game except for in a parlay with San Fran and Dallas and Buffalo -3. That was the one that killed me. But I played the over in this game, so I was home free on it. But I'm going to top your ugly with the ugliest you have ever heard. And this comes from our sports guru over in Marion, Arkansas, Jason Owens. I was talking to him the other day, and he told me that somebody, I guess maybe they were in Vegas, during the third quarter of that game, put $1.4 million on the Chargers to win money line to win $11,000. And as we know, they lost. Hard to believe, huh?
Wow. So Chargers money line in game. Somebody lays 11. Oh wait, hang on. Tell me again the figures.
He told me, I didn't fact check him on this, but he told me somebody laid 1.4 million, which must have mean the Chargers were like 14,000 to 1. Laid 1.4 million to win $11,000. But as we know, they didn't win $11,000. They lost 1.4 million. So that tops your ugly by a lot.
Whew, yeah. I mean, I more money than sense. Just thinking that you could bully the casino, boy, that would be as ugly as it gets to go up to the window and lay that marker out there for 1.4 million just for a chance to have win enough for a good weekend in Vegas. Wow! And then you piss it all away right there with the Chargers, 27-0. But that's the Chargers being the Chargers. As long as I can remember now, the Chargers have found ways to blow seasons, blow games, and this was no exception. Just a glaring exception, I guess. Chargers blow a 27-0 lead, and that is the ugly. We're going to grab a quick break. Don't go anywhere. You've caught Nall or Nuthin. Welcome back. It's Nall or Nuthin. I'm your host, Jason Nall, joined by our master handicappers, Badland Brandon and Big Daddy C 1000. You've caught Nall or Nothing either on your FM dial on 101.3 The Buzz. In Cleveland, Tennessee, we're on every Thursday afternoon during drive time to get you ready for the weekend's sports gambling action. Or maybe you're catching us on WNWS TV at WNWS.com. We're on 24 hours a day there on the World Wide Web or our YouTube channel. That's Nall, Nallor, Nuthin, Nuthin apostrophe. Nall or Nuthin. Search us up, like, and subscribe on YouTube where you never, ever miss an episode. Okay, NBA, guys. NBA. I know Big Daddy C has dipped a toe already in the NBA action. He's been texting me about these totals the last few nights. Everybody's going over the total. The scoring has come around in the NBA here as we head toward midseason. Big Daddy C, from a trend standpoint, you're most in touch with the NBA. What you seeing out there, man?
Yeah, like I was telling you the other day on Martin Luther King Day, I think there were probably, 9 games, 8 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think every single one of them went over, and they just didn't go over. They went over easy. But the last few nights I've kind of followed, and it seems like the over is the trend right now. I would be playing the overs right now in some of the games. I'm not saying every game's going over, but the trend, most of them are going over right now. The Grizzlies are hot. They've won 11 in a row. Celtics won 7 in a row. And the Nuggets have won 8 in a row. So those are the hot teams to play. And if you want to fade a team, it's got to be those Houston Rockets. They've lost 11 in a row. So there's a few trends you can follow and try to get on in the NBA.
Well, I can tell you this much. I went to the Grizzlies Suns game December 27th, right after Christmas down there in Memphis. Great experience. First time I'd ever been to a NBA game, period. But I enjoyed it. But however, the Phoenix Suns, as a big underdog, took it to Memphis, won easily. Memphis hadn't lost a game since 11 straight since the time I was there. So I either got them fired up or I was bad luck for them. I don't know, but they're on a roll since I left Memphis. Badlands, you ever been over there? It's not too far for you, just across the state line. You go to Grizzlies games?
Yeah, actually, I do now. I don't go as much as we used to. We used to have or my dad's company years ago used to have a box there, so we used to go and watch them quite a bit. But I'm going to tell you another interesting stat about the Grizzlies, real quick. What a hostile arena that is! Memphis is 20-3 at home, which is far superior to anybody else in the NBA as far as home advantage goes to. So I'm kind of like Big Daddy C. Those Grizzlies are hot right now. You might want to ride them while they're on this wave they're on.
They're hot. So let's start with the Western Conference standings. The Grizzlies sit just a half game back from the top spot, the 1 seed in the Western Conference, 31-13 overall record. They're tied in the loss column for the best record. Nuggets lead, though, in the West, 32-13 record. I did. Last year I had the Grizz to win the West, and I don't know what it is or why I didn't take them again this year, but I didn't. I wanted to shake it up and have a different team to pull for all year long to win the Western Conference. I took the Nuggets, so I wish I'd taken them both. Actually, I feel really confident that one of these two teams is probably going to be the one to get through in the West. But they're head and shoulders 6 games clear of third place. Surprising Sacramento's Kings team, and then the Pelicans for New Orleans 4th, Mavs 5th, Warriors at 500, 22-22 6th. 7th, the Jazz, another surprise. They traded off all their parts. And way down at 8th is the Clippers, who were supposed to be, they were the favorite for the Western Conference going in. Out of those teams, which team surprises you the most there, Big Daddy C? Is it the Kings in third place position, or is it the Grizzlies and Nuggets at the top?
Yeah, well, the Kings are definitely probably got to be it. I mean, you would have thought that the Grizzlies and the Nuggets were good last year. I just hate for you that you didn't play the Grizzlies again, because this looks like this might be their year. They really got things going, and I think they're going to do it this year. So they could be a surprise in my mind as how well as they have done.
Well, I would definitely, if they remain the 1 and 2 seeds, Denver and the Grizzlies, that would mean they wouldn't meet until the conference finals. I would definitely hedge with the Grizzlies to win that series. should they get that far. I wouldn't want to have my Nuggets lose to the team I had last year. But I've got a pretty good odds on these Nuggets. I think I got them at 9-1 before the season started to win the West. The Grizzlies were 7-1. So I'm in a pretty good position as long as things keep rolling. But what about the Lakers, Badlands, Brandon? 20 and 25. LeBron seems to be way more interested in staying healthy enough to play one season with Bronny. If he were to make it to the league, which we know he will because he will sell tickets regardless of whether his skills are polished enough for the NBA yet, then LeBron seems more interested in staying healthy and playing one season with his son than winning another championship.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I mean, I think you're right on the head with that. I think he's already made it abundantly he's already made it abundantly clear that he wants to play with his son in the NBA. LA is the team. I believe when we first talked about the NBA, it was 3 or 4 shows ago. I think I mentioned something about fading the Lakers instantly. They're no good. They, I mean, if you've watched the Lakers play, they have no team chemistry. It's just, it's nothing. It's just pass the ball to whoever. I mean, there's no flow to their team. A dismal 20 and 25. I mean, I'll say it again now. Fade them. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to make the playoffs. LeBron's going to do what he can to stay healthy so he can play with his son. But just overall, that Lakers team is bad, really bad, actually. A team that actually surprised me in the West that I thought was going to actually be better than what they were was actually the Phoenix Suns, but they come in at the 12th spot, so I was a little surprised with that.
Yeah, they're definitely not backing up that great regular season and strong playoff run they had last year. I mean, they did get beat by the Mavericks and at home in Game 7. They got beat like a drum actually in that game to the Mavericks, but they had a great regular season, best record in the West, and nothing like that this year. Nothing like that at all. Let's jump to the Eastern Conference. I'll keep it with you, Badlands. Best record in basketball by a half game. Celtics 33-12, got a 4-game lead. Do you see the Celtics backing up in this division, or is it their division to run away with?
This is one that I've kind of toyed back and forth with. I like Boston. I was cheering for them last year. But I think Boston's got a little bit of a problem. Their shooting game is kind of or somewhat inconsistent. I know they've got Tatum and Smart and a lot of those guys that when they're on, they're hitting. Their offenses are really good and really good production. But I still think that I've still got to go with the Bucks as my team in the East. I think the Bucks are going to get it together. I know they're 4 games back right now of the Celtics, but I do like Milwaukee. I think they're the best team in the East, even though they're second in the Eastern Division. But Boston's a good team, but I've still got to go with my Bucks to get it done in the East.
Well, the Bucks doing a little bit of load management right now with Giannis, the Greek freak, sitting out a few games here. I don't remember what the injury is, but it's nothing major. I think they want to make sure he's healthy and energized for the playoffs. And Giannis played overseas all summer long, as did several of the foreign NBA players. He really didn't have an off season. So this 2-week break will probably bring him back. His scoring average has dipped this year, and especially over the last month. And the Bucks will need Giannis if they're going to make a serious run in the playoffs. I took the 76ers after a year off. 2 years ago, I had them. I took them again this year to win the Eastern Conference. They started out slow, and I was able to get a little more value, I would say, on them. I've got them at 7-1, and I've got them at 10-1 to win the East. Playing great ball now, 8-2 over the last 10, 3-game win streak, 28-16. Definitely going to be in the upper half of the playoff teams here for the Eastern Division. Big Daddy C, James Harden, he's working out pretty well for the 76ers.
Yeah, I think I got to pat myself on the back. I think I said that was a great trade. You were arguing a few years ago it wasn't a good one. So I think I'll put that another check on my list for another one right and you wrong. But I like Boston in the East. I think Boston's going to run away with it. That Tottenham is a beast. I mean, he just dominates games. So I'm going to stick with the favorite, and I think they continue and roll out and win the East.
Well, the Nets, the 4 seed right now as it stands, 27-16. They have been on a torrid stretch. of late, but injuries have crept in and stopped that long winning streak. Now they have lost three in a row since Durant has been out. What do you think, Badlands? Can the Nets pick it right back up when Durant comes back, or did it stop all progress?
In my mind, I think it just kind of stops the progress. Even if he comes back, you have guys that get hot and you get, that good shooting and everything kind of takes a pause when you have a guy go out. I'm not going to say that it's going to go away permanently, but it might take, several games to get it back going the way they had it previously. I like Brooklyn. I think they're going to do good, but I still don't think they're even going to uh, be a contender to win the East outright. I think that's either going to come down to Boston, Milwaukee, or Philly. But that's just my thought on it.
He's at Badlands Brandon on Twitter. Be sure to follow at Badlands Brandon on Twitter for insight and picks all throughout the week. Uh, let's look down here at the contenders and maybe the pretenders here in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls, who I liked last year and I had over their win total, stayed away from them this year. It's probably a good thing. They're under 500 and not able to repeat the good regular season they had last year. Anyway, the Hawks just at 523 and 22. Big Daddy C, they've looked really bad at times this year. Is Atlanta going to make a charge and move up this playoff race, or are they going to be lucky to hold on?
No, I think they'll be lucky to hold on. I think those top four with the maybe you throw Dallas in there are definitely the teams in the East. And Atlanta's got a lot of problems. I think that coach and that Trey Young are kind of having a little problem. So no, I'm not looking for Atlanta to make a move.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our quick look at the NBA. Big Daddy C says hop on the overs right now. The overs are the trend, and scoring is happening in bunches in the NBA. We're going to grab another break. We'll come right back, and we will begin to look at the NFL. We're going to look at the coaching searches out there, and maybe where is the next spot for the GOAT, Tom Brady. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's your host, Jason Nall. Glad to be with you again this week on Nall or Nuthin. Maybe you caught us on your FM dial on 101.3 The Buzz, right here in my hometown, Cleveland, Tennessee, or WNWS TV on the World Wide Web at WNWS.com. Uh, you know what? The coaching carousel in the NFL been a little bit tame this year. It's not as wild as it has been at other times. That is for sure. But we do have five vacancies out there to talk about. The first job that came open was Matt Rule, who was let go early in the season by the Carolina Panthers. Now he's rebounded nicely. He's the head coach at Nebraska now, trying to bring the Cornhuskers back, as so many others have tried and failed over the last 2 decades. Panthers got left holding the bag a bit there. They gave him a big 7-year, $62 million contract to come over from Baylor, but they had to do it at the time. He was a hot prospect, and a lot of NFL teams were interested in Matt Rule. You're a Baylor guy, Badlands. What happened to Matt Rule? Is he just a prototypical college coach, or do you see him ever coming back to the NFL to try it one more time?
No, I don't think. He's a guy cut out for the NFL. I think he's a college guy. He tried and attempted it, and it was just awful and dismal. Um, you know, I like the guy. I think he's good. Do I think he's a good head coach? No, I don't. But I definitely think he tried to do his best. I just don't think he had the experience needed to really motivate that team and get them where they needed to go. So I think college is definitely the best place for him.
The Colts, they let go of Frank Reich early in the year as well after a tough start. And then Jeff Saturday came in. I know Big Daddy C was on board with Jeff Saturday. Doesn't look like Jeff Saturday's going to get a chance to be the permanent coach. What do you think, Big Daddy C? What's going on with the Colts? They're talking about Carr maybe coming in, Derek Carr, who's now a free agent from the Raiders. Are they going to go that route with another veteran quarterback and maybe find a coach that Carr's familiar with?
Yeah, I don't know. They maybe should try that, but they've just always kind of been jinxed since Lux left, and I don't see things improving there fast. I would look for the Colts to be kind of a bottom dweller next year. Also, they're just kind of in that slump, and things aren't going their way. And I don't think Derek Carr's the man to come in there and change it. He's just mediocre at best, and that's not what they need in Indy. They need something way better than mediocre.
He's at Big Daddy C1000 on Twitter, at Big Daddy C1000. That is our Nall or Nuthin Twitter page. Big Daddy C posts his pics on there, as does your host, Jason Nall. Be sure to follow at Big Daddy C1000. Broncos, Nate Hackett gone after the Christmas Day massacre. One of the worst performances you'll ever see. The Broncos just got absolutely rolled by the lifeless L.A. Rams, who had nothing to play for. And I remember texting Big Daddy C during that game saying these coaches need to be fired at halftime. Well, they didn't get them at halftime, but they got them before the plane landed in Denver. Broncos still looking for their head coach. Texans, Lovie Smith, one and done. I thought Lovie Smith was kind of a strange hire last year when they hired him. Now I think he's a strange fire because I actually thought he did a really good job at what he had. That team played hard every week, especially down the stretch. I'm beginning to think that it was always going to be a one-year deal for Lovie Smith. They were going to do the transition year to get Deshaun Watson out of town over to Cleveland, stock up those draft picks, and then bring in a coach and a GM that, to build a future there in Houston. Maybe Houston is the number one landing spot, at least in my mind, for Sean Payton. Sean Payton, a Texas guy. We know the Cowboys with the playoff win on the road. They're out of the picture. They're not going to fire McCarthy after winning a road playoff game. Why wouldn't Sean Payton, Badlands Brandon, want that Houston job? They got draft picks. He can build it exactly the way he wants to. No cap issues at all. It's a clean slate. If you're an NFL coach, it's a pretty good spot. And the division, not the toughest division out there. Jaguars, Colts, Texans, and Titans.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you don't need me to say anything. I think you summed it up right there. I mean, I think it's a clean slate for him. He can go in, build the team that he wants to build. He doesn't have to have the worry of cap space for any of that for getting guys. The only thing about it is I just don't, is he? I mean, does he want that job? Is he in love with that job like he was with New Orleans? We'll see. But I mean, it's a very enticing job offer with everything that they put on the table for him with all the picks and cap room and all that. So I think this is a great spot for Sean Payton.
Yeah, and then I think New Orleans does have to sign off on the next landing spot for Sean Payton. This will be an AFC team, so a completely different conference. And then I think New Orleans may want and have the right to get some sort of draft pick even for the coach. And Houston has plenty of those. They can give him a third-round pick, and it wouldn't change the future for Houston. That's where my money is. I think Sean Payton's going to end up with the Texans. And then finally, the last fire of the season, they just blew it up out in Arizona. It is blown up. GM Steve Kelm let go down the stretch this season. And then Cliff Kingsbury, he's out. Kingsbury, I read an interesting story about him yesterday, Big Daddy C. He's got guaranteed money through 2027. He just did a long extension with the Arizona Cardinals. They fired him. He bought a one-way ticket to Thailand and changed his cell phone number. He's not taking calls from any other coaching opportunities, he's going to sit back and collect that check at least for the near future.
Yeah, wow, what a good move. I don't disagree with that at all. No pressure, and they say that money in Thailand goes a long way. So good for him. Go enjoy it. But I think the Arizona, they're like Indy. They got way more problems than just the coach. I don't think that Lamar Murray is the answer out there at quarterback. So I don't know that the coach is going to change a lot in Arizona.
Yeah, so Kyler Murray,
Yeah.
he's going to be out almost all of next year. His injury was in December. It was an ACL injury, which takes a long time to heal. Uh, Will he even be back at all next year? Probably not. And I can't imagine them seeing the need to bring him back. It left for maybe on a limited basis just to get some work at the end of December. Who knows if he's really the answer in Arizona anyway? They're tied into a long-term deal with him, so they're not in a great position there at all. An injured quarterback that we don't know if they are even the answer. The work ethic for Kyler Murray has been often questioned. J.J. Watt, defensive Hall of Famer. He's now retired after this season. It's a mess there in Arizona. That's not the easiest turnaround job there is the Badlands.
No, not at all. Not at all. You broke up on that last part, Jason. I couldn't hear you.
I was just saying it's a mess in Arizona, and I don't think that Sean Payton's going to go out to Arizona with all the problems there.
No, no, not with everything that's going on out in Arizona, especially with Kyler Murray. It's just not a good situation for him, and I highly doubt we're going to see him back next year at all. If we do see him, it'll probably be real late in the year, but I doubt even at that time they're even going to want to do that. So, definitely not one of the better landing spots, I wouldn't think.
From the quarterback, from the coaching carousel to the quarterback carousel. And we have two big cowboys on the carousel for the quarterbacks. One, the GOAT, Tom Brady. Is he done? Does he have another year? If so, is it in Tampa or is it somewhere else? And Derek Carr, surprisingly, at least to me, let go by the Raiders. Didn't he had a long term deal there too, $40 million a year, but didn't deliver this year, and it all fell on his shoulders. And so they took him out of the lineup for the last 3 weeks to keep his trade value high, make sure there were no injuries. And so Carr looking for a home. The odds-on favorite to be the quarterback for Las Vegas next year, Tom Brady at plus 150. So if we look at the landing spots for Tom Brady, Las Vegas is twice the favorite of Tampa Bay as far as landing spots for Tom Brady. Maybe a Brady and Carr swap, Badlands. Carr goes to Tampa Bay, Brady goes to Las Vegas. It would be like Elvis out in Las Vegas at the end of his career, Wayne Newton or something. Brady, what a landing spot, Las Vegas.
I That would definitely be interesting, though. But I'm also going to be real interested to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers up in Green Bay. Um, there's a part of me that thinks that his time at Green Bay could be coming to an end. Boy, wouldn't that be something interesting to see if Brady made his way up to Green Bay?
I don't
But
think. I think it's too cold in Green Bay. I'll get to that in a minute, but I don't think Brady's
but
going to cold weather climates at 46 years old.
I mean, you're probably right, but it would be interesting nonetheless. But out of those two, whether he stays in Tampa Bay or he makes a switch and goes out to Vegas and Carr comes in, I they could work out really good for Las Vegas. I mean, Lord knows they need some offensive help, and maybe it'll be a thing of like when or was it where Favre before he retired went to Minnesota and had that amazing season. Maybe he could do something like that for Las Vegas.
Maybe so. Big Daddy C, Brady in Las Vegas makes a lot of sense. Josh McDaniel, his offensive coordinator in New England for the better part of 10 years back and forth in New England with Josh McDaniels, the head coach of the Raiders. And then Brady, fresh off a divorce. Where else would a divorced man rather live than Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I say there's less than 1% chance that he's in Tampa Bay. I say that's almost an absolute zero. But I can tell you where I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be sitting on a recliner Sunday afternoons watching the games. Did y'all not see that game against Dallas? He was afraid to get hit. He threw the ball at the feet of people. He was doing everything he could to avoid being touched. He's done. It's over. I think this was the first time the guy's ever had a losing season in his life. He's done. He's not going to play anymore. Wrap it up, put a bow, package it up. He's done. He'll be on the recliner on Sunday afternoons.
Big Daddy C says he's done. I agree. He's done everywhere but Las Vegas. That's where they put you on life support. That's where you have your last run. That's where he'll have his Sinatra moment. I think he goes to Las Vegas, and I think he finished his career with one last season in Vegas. Do I think he's going to be effective and help Vegas win games? No, not necessarily. But I think he'll help them sell tickets, and selling tickets matters in Las Vegas. So here's the odds, though. Just quickly, I'll run through the odds on Tom Brady. Las Vegas plus 150. Tampa Bay plus 300. San Francisco plus 350. Can't imagine him in San Francisco. I mean, Brock Purdy's mobile, and he's every bit the quarterback that Tom Brady has, and he already beat Tom Brady handily in a face-to-face showdown late in the season. So I take San Fran, no chance they're going Brady. Miami plus 750. I don't see that one either. And then you get to your cold weather sites. The two lowest numbers on cold weather, the Patriots, the fifth choice. And he goes and finishes his career with one more year at the Patriots. Never. Plus 850. And the Jets also plus 850. But my money says one last run. Josh McDaniels is the old offensive coordinator. Brings him in on a 2-year contract. And he probably only plays one of them. But he finishes it up out in the desert in Las Vegas like so many of the greats have. From Elvis to Sinatra to Shania. Let's put Tom Brady in his last act right there on that list with the performers who have closed their careers in Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
Before you get away from that,
We are going to cover the NFL games in their entirety in this coming weekend of playoffs. Welcome back. It's Nall or Nothing. I'm your host, Jason Nall. Big Daddy C, you were saying something as we were going off the air there for commercial break.
yeah, I wanted to get in and ask you something. So you named all those odds of teams that he could go to. Is there a bet on there that he doesn't play? And what if you pick one of those teams and he don't play? Does everybody get their money back?
There is a bet that he does not play. Does not play is even money.
Yeah, well, I say Vegas knows. He's not playing.
Does not play is even money. I think he's playing 1 year in Vegas. We'll see. I may jump in there and put a little pizza money on it just to back up my hypothesis there that all the greats retire in Vegas. All right, let's get to the business at hand. We got some picks now. We got some bettable events and some big ones in these divisional playoffs. It all starts on Saturday this week. We got 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. First game on Saturday, the Jacksonville Jaguars, fresh off the third largest comeback in NFL playoff history, came back from being down 27-0 to beat the Chargers at home. Now they go on the road. They go to Arrowhead and they face the Chiefs off a bye week. The Chiefs are an 8.5-point favorite. Over under 53. Badlands, Brandon, start us off.
Yeah, so I took a bad loss dealing with Jacksonville this past week in that Chargers matchup. Um, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to have that luck, not against that tough Kansas City team and their defense and that explosive offense with Mahomes. So just to err on the side of caution, I'm going to play a teaser this week. I'm going to play a teaser. I'm going to take Kansas City and I'm going to tease them down 6, get it to 3, and say that the Chiefs and Arrowhead are just too much to handle. Lawrence doesn't have another horseshoe in his helmet to get it done. So give me the Chiefs -3 in a teaser.
I'll even give you better than that. That line's ticked down to 8.5. If you take a teaser, you can get them under a field goal now, -2.5. And
Even better.
we'll talk about who you're going to pair with them here as we get to that game. Over under 53, biggest total of the week, Big Daddy C.
Yeah, I would lean over in this one, and I lean Kansas City. Out of the 4 games this weekend, this is probably my third choice. Uh, I think Jacksonville sat there all week, and everybody's told them how great they were, and they've heard about how this is the best comeback in NFL history, and their heads are maybe a little big, and they're going to go into Kansas City, a very tough and cold place to play this time of year, and they're going to meet a Kansas City team that's not going to stop scoring. They're going to keep scoring till the buzzer in the fourth quarter. I think they're going to hit a buzzsaw. I think you could tease them down. I think it's a very good play. I think you could probably even cheat them and take the alternative spread and take Kansas City minus a few more. I like Kansas City here. I think they're hungry. They're off that bye week, and they put it to a big-headed Jacksonville team this week.
Yeah, it's hard not to like the Chiefs in this spot. It really is difficult. If there's a possibility of a look-ahead game in the playoffs, which I don't think there is when you're coming off a bye, could be a look-ahead spot, but there's not. I don't really know how to make a good case for Jacksonville. Other than if they're going to be in this game, they're going to have to score. If you like Jacksonville, you better take the over too. But if they have any chance, they're going to have to try to score right side by side with the Chiefs. Big O total 53. I still lean the over in this one, over 53. In fact, that's something we should touch on. Big Daddy, every game in the wild card weekend, with the exception of Dallas, went over the total. And we know if the kicker hadn't missed 4 extra points for Dallas, it would have gone over the total. So I'm going to go ahead and say in my mind that was an over, too. It was only a fluke that it went under. It's been an over trend so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's kind of counter trend to the season. We know the season was a bunch of unders.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just time where there were a bunch of overs in regular season play, and maybe it's time for the best teams are playing and it's overtime. So maybe it's playoffs and overs.
Yep, that's what it looks like. At least that's what it looked like in Wild Card Weekend. The second game on Saturday, the 8:15 Eastern kickoff. Philadelphia Eagles come off their bye week, and they face the New York Giants. The Giants took care of business on the road, beat Minnesota in a rematch from Week 15. Close game, but the Giants pulled away, and Danny Dimes had the biggest game of his career in New York. Really solidified his spot for good or bad for the near future, the New York Giants as their leader and their quarterback. Eagles 7.5 over under 48. Big Daddy C.
Yeah, this will be my top play of the week. This will be the one I have the most chips on, and I love the Eagles here. I think the Eagles, with the bye week off, are going to hit a Giants team, and this Giants team isn't playing a cheap defense like the last few weeks, and in 2 of the last 3 weeks they played Minnesota that let them put up 30. I don't think the Eagles are going to allow them to put up 30. I think they'll probably be lucky to put up more than 14. So I think the Eagles will put up their points. I think the Eagles defense is going to shut down the Giants. I love the Eagles here. I love them. I'm going to buy it down to 7. I won't play the 7.5. So I'll buy it down to 7. But I think you could even go out on the alternative line and maybe take the Eagles minus maybe 10 or 12. I like the Eagles here, well rested, and they're going to beat up on a team that's going to run into a really good defense.
Big Daddy C1000, big plays of the week. His NFL Divisional Play-off best bet. He likes the Eagles. He says buy that half. If your shop sells the half, buy that half. Don't lay 7.5, lay 7. Or go look at the alternative line, get it up over 10, and grab yourself some positive odds. He thinks the Eagles roll. Badlands Brandon, I think this is the second half of your teaser.
Yeah, this one came in, and Minnesota. I've been hounding them all year. Really thought they were going to win that matchup last week with New York, but New York just Danny Dimes looked unstoppable again, and found a way to get it done. I don't think he's going to have that load with the Eagles. I think that big offensive unit being well rested is going to come out and do it. But again, to err on the side of caution, let's tease it on down. We'll tease it down and get that number to what
Well,
line do you have on that, Jason?
1.5 right now would be the current
So
teaser.
so so 1.5. Say Philly gets it done, which I think they're going to. I've been bet on a lot of these parlays lately, having to lay uh, big heavy wood on those lines. So I'm going to just play a teaser this week, keep it safe. But I think that ticket's definitely a winner.
At Badlands Brandon on Twitter, he loves these Saturday teaser. Both Saturday games are his clown picks for the week. Tease the two favorites: Chiefs -2.5, Eagles -0.5. Well, y'all both said well rested. This well rested Eagles team. Well, let me tell you, well rested. I think they're going to be well rusted. I don't necessarily love taking the teams off that bye. I understand the bye helps get them healthy, but I think it takes a couple of series to get back in off that full bye week. And they're playing a divisional rival. We saw what happened with the divisional rival when the Dolphins went to the Bills last week. It took everything the Bills had to move on out of the wild card weekend and beat the Dolphins by just 3 as a 13-point favorite. So give me the points. Give me that half. I'm not buying any half. It's there for me. The Giants +7.5 against what I think will be a well rusty Eagles team in the first half. The Giants are feeling it. Saquon Barkley said last week, hey, Danny Dimes, let's stop talking about it. He's elite. You saw it today. They are brimming with confidence. Let's go, G-Men. I love them. Inter-conference, inter-division rivalry. Give me the points. All right. Opposite, contrary to what you guys think, I think the Giants make it a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. Now, let's move to Sunday. The Bengals and the Bills. Big play for me here. I love, love, love the Bills. I think the Bengals are a shell of the team they were last year. And you're going to say, well, my God, they were one of the hottest teams in football down the stretch. They were. They were. But their defense isn't as good as last year. And their offensive line is missing 4 pieces from just a month ago. And their offensive line had improved over previous years, but I feel like the offensive line is not strong enough to go into Buffalo, and Joe can't do it on his own. As much as I like Joe Burrow, give me the Bills. I'll lay that 5, no problem. I think the Bills win by 10 or more. Badlands Brandon, can you see it happen? Or are you on Burrow and the Bengals?
No, I think you said everything that needed to be said. I don't think that defense is the same caliber that it was last year. I think this Buffalo team is a team that can score a lot of points and quickly when they need to. Um, I like the 5.5. I don't think I would do anything with that. I think I would just say that Buffalo is the superior team. Win by a touchdown. I like Buffalo in this spot. Give me the Bills laying the 5.5.
Big Daddy C, the Bengals kind of got screwed here. Had they won that game that DeMar Hamlin was had the heart attack in, and it was canceled, this game would be in Cincinnati rather than Buffalo. Cincinnati was leading 7-3, albeit very early in that game. So now instead, the game was canceled, and they are playing in Orchard Park in Buffalo. Do you give the Bengals any chance?
Sure, yeah, I give the Bengals a chance. I think out of the 4 games, this is probably going to be the most competitive in my opinion. Out of the 4 games, this is my least favorite to pick a side. I could really see this going either way. I think you make a very good point that 4 of the linemen for Cincinnati's out, and that could really hurt them a lot. What I might look for is one of those prop bets, and maybe for the Buffalo Bills defense to score a touchdown. That'll probably give you some good, nice, juicy odds on that. But I would lean the over in this, and I'm not really going to pick a side. I could see it going either way. I might take a side in game if I can get the line with a few more than it is right now pregame. But I think this could be very competitive. I could see it going either way.
Bills have scored 30 points in 5 of their last 6 games. They've got the offense going. It's just a question of whether their defense can step up and have some good games here. It's going to determine exactly how far they go in these playoffs. I like the Bills this time. I think they, I think they hurt a lot of folks last week by not handling business and covering the spread against the Dolphins. Probably scared a few folks off. Time to tip a toe in the water and lay some points with these Bills minus the 5. And then the 6:30 Eastern game, probably the most unfair game on the board, if you ask me. Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco played Saturday in an afternoon game last week at home against um, Seattle. They were tested in the first half, but they cruised to an easy victory with a runaway in the second half, while Dallas had to go to Tampa on the road, play on Monday night of Wild Card Weekend, the last game of Wild Card Weekend, and now they have a short week by one day, whereas San Fran has a long week by one day. That one day is huge. It's not like having a week off like the Eagles and the Chiefs did, where there might be some rust. That one day is really going to help San Fran get mentally and physically ready for this game, whereas they have an extra day. Dallas has less day, and they have to travel from one end of the country to the other. And I know in the modern age, travel is not as detrimental to a team as it once was, but it's still a pain to go from Tampa to San Francisco. Trust me. I like the Niners here. It's my best bet. I'm going to take them on the money line. Niners land 210. Now, I understand you had to lay some money, but think of it this way. If you're going to buy a stock, and I told you you're going to risk $210, and the next day you'll have $310, you'd think that's a pretty good return. So we're going to do that. We're going to lay a little bit more in this game, but I think it's a good return. I think there's no way Dallas can back that performance up on a short week with this major travel as they face a healthy and rested 49ers team with Debo healthy, Christian McCaffrey healthy, Purdy seems like a world beater, hadn't lost since he's taken over, and Shanahan definitely the best coach. I'll lay some money just to get the win. Give me the 49ers minus 210. All right, Big Daddy C. I know you've got an opinion on this game. Dallas was the home run hitter for you last week. Do you like my birdie play? 49ers minus 210?
Well, let me first start off saying I don't think you should be giving out stock picks. That last stock pick I got from you, CORZ, they filed for bankruptcy about a week ago. So let's stay off the stock picks and just go with football analogies. But yes, I love your play here. I love the 49ers. I think they're much the best team. I just find it hard to make my number one play simply because I bet Dallas last week and I won on Dallas. I hate trying to fade a team I won off of. But I like the 49ers here. I like their spot. I think Dallas, like I said 2 weeks ago, got harassed and told how bad they were. I think this week, Zach Prescott watched ESPN and heard that he's one of only 5 quarterbacks in the history to throw for 4 touchdowns and run for 1 touchdown. And Dallas has just been pumped. Oh, Dallas is back. Dallas is ready to win. So I think Dallas is going to come in there with a big head, and they're going to get a hold of one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, San Fran has 3 stars that would go to any team and be superstars, McCarthy, Debo, and Kittle. So I think Purdy's got just enough to get it done, and that San Fran defense is for real. I love San Fran here. I just can't make it my go-to play because I bet on Dallas last week and cashed on them. But I do like San Fran here, and I will be playing them.
All right. That's 2 ringing endorsements for San Fran. Badlands, close us out here. Where do you stand on Cowboys at 49ers? A classic NFC matchup. Think about all those great Cowboys and Niners games back in the day. San Francisco, a 3.5-point favorite, over under 46. Where do you stand?
It looks like we're all going to ride this one together. But I do have something to say to Big Daddy C because I'm pretty sure I was scolded for this many, many times during this college football season. Even though we're not discussing college, where he would come to me and say, "You get on one team one week, you bet them, Then you flip the script and you go against them the next week. Now, unless I'm mistaken, that's exactly what he's doing right now. He was all on Dallas last week. They're going to do it. They're going to get it done. Now he's getting off of them when he just cashed a ticket off of them.
That's the
So,
name
Well,
of
if
the game in the NFL, though. NFL is different than college. You got to look at it totally different than college.
But look, if you would watch and listen to the show, San Fran was my number 2 play last week. I loved them both. So what I do? I mean, I have no choice. I mean, I love both those teams. Just like I said, I can't go strong because I played them both and won on both of them last week.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I'm telling you, NFL, it's all situational. And that's why I'm not very good at the playoffs, because I try to look at it too situationally and maybe not who's the best team. So I'm looking at this situation where Dallas has to come all the way across the country on 2 days less rest than San Francisco. And San Francisco sitting there and wait with a better, much, much better defense than what they faced in Tampa last week.
And no, I totally get that, but I just think it's funny that I get scolded for whatever. No, but to answer your question, no. I do like San Francisco. I think that offense is going to be way too much. I don't think Dallas is going to have an answer for Kittle. Purdy's look like, incredible. Everything that they've got going, Dallas having to make that long trip from Arlington all the way over to play San Francisco. I think it's all just a recipe for disaster. I think San Francisco gets it done. I think you lay the points with San Francisco and you'll be a winner.
All right, we're running short on time. I'm going to pop over our summary board. We'll go over our plays. Best bets, NFL summary board. Nall, your host. I like the 49ers money line, laying 210. I think they'll win this game. I think they have a big advantage in travel schedule and days of rest here. Plus, I think they have the coaching advantage with Shanahan and the better defense. Parlay, I'll give you. Let's go with the Bills money line and the 49ers money line. 2 favorites under a touchdown, but let's take them both down to where they just have to win the game. If you parlay those 2 together, it's a little bit better than even money, plus 105 for the Bills and 49ers money line parlay. Big Daddy C, his best bet, takes the Eagles, likes them coming off their week of rest, and says they will take care of business against an inferior Giants team. And Badlands, Brandon, he'll give you an NFL 2-for teaser on Saturday. Both games played on Saturday. The early game, he likes the Chiefs, tease them down under a field goal, minus 2.5 against the Jaguars. And the Eagles in the late game on Saturday, minus 1.5, 2-game teaser for Badlands, Brandon. All right, that is all the time we have this week. We appreciate you joining us and hanging out for an hour, talking through a little NFL, a little NBA. Get ready for the divisional playoffs. Should be a great weekend of football with 2 games Saturday and 2 games Sunday. For Badlands, Brandon, and Big Daddy C1000, I'm your host, Jason Nall, and we are out of here.
I said, united we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust. There is no fear. United we stand, in God we trust.